Hi, welcome to Yoga Selection. My name is Rod. Today we're working with a short sequence of knee strengthening poses. Make sure that you've got 2 blocks and a bolster and a chair and your mat up against the wall. Let's begin with Utkatasana. We'll take a block. We'll be placing a block like this between the inner knees. So it's not a wide block, it's not up here. Sometimes we do have it up into the inner thigh, but today a more narrow block right on the knee joint. Will be placing the back of the pelvis to the wall, resting into the wall. The ankles are roughly a thigh bone's length away from the wall, and the backs of the shoulders as well as the pelvis in contact with the wall. We'll place our hands onto the front thighs. Now we'll be referring to it a lot throughout the class, the Vastus Medialis muscle, this one here, part of the quadriceps, sort of on that inner front thigh area adjacent to the knee. That's the muscle that we'll be really looking to activate here and firm. So pressing against the block, just bend your knees and we'll get to that muscle. But first of all, the feet, make sure that your weight is not being pushed into the balls of the feet. Instead, it needs to be back into the heels. So the heels press down, but even more specific, the outer heels press down as you squeeze the block, and in doing that, you can feel that muscle starts to firm and grip. Make sure that your hips are a little higher than your knees here. You're not going right down to the height of the knees. And then keep squeezing the block, keep pressing the heels down as you push yourself back up the wall. So that muscle's also very involved in straightening the legs and helps to support the knees as the legs straighten. Let's go again. So we bend down, heels press down, we're squeezing the block. Also the ball of the foot, even though the weight's not pushed towards it, we're still able to generate lift from it. So the big toe base is pressed down as you squeeze the block. And then again, push yourself back up the wall. And we'll go again. Sink down, big toe bases press, heels press, squeezing the block, and also you're pressing the back of your pelvis into the wall, but you do it in such a way that the sitting bones just a little bit tuck under towards the backs of the knees. Keep your chest lifting and your shoulders back to the wall, and then push yourself back up the wall. And we'll do one more. Just feel it even here before the knees bend. There's the ability of the skin in that sacrum area to slide a little bit on the bone that's beneath it. And we want to pay attention to that ability of the skin to grip a little bit and slide a little bit as we sink down and press the back of the pelvis into the wall. But with our feet, as we press them into the floor and squeeze the block, it's as if we're stretching that skin down and away from the spine. As we press into the wall and press the feet to the floor, it's as if we're using the back of the pelvis to stretch the wall upwards towards the ceiling. Okay, and then push your legs straight. Put the block off to the side. We've got Virabhadrasana 2, left heel to the wall and the right foot step out. And particularly since we're working with knees, today we want to have added emphasis on the wide distance between the feet, because we know that if we're bending the front leg and the knee joint's coming past the ankle joint, that tends to put the strain on the knee. The thigh bone as if jams into the knee. When there's the wider distance between the feet, the heel can press down, and it's as if the thigh bone then gets pulled back into the hip, and it's a nice movement for the knee. So wide distance between the feet. We won't be so concerned with our arms today, so let's just keep the hands on the hip. And as we bend the front leg, just look at the knee. Notice how the inner knee tends to shrink back towards the pelvis. And as we were just doing, let's press the big toe base down to turn the knee out to the side. And then come back up. We'll stay on this side. Maybe we'll just bring the arms loosely into the pose, the left hand to the wall, the right arm extend out. And again, bend the knee. Noticing the tendency for the inner knee to shrink back towards the pelvis. We're pressing the big toe base down. Also the outer heel down to turn that knee and lengthen it away from the pelvis. Come back up and We'll again stay on this side as we again bend, big toe base down, outer heel down. Also move the buttock in, and it lengthens that inner knee away from the pubic bone. Then lengthening the knee away from the pubic bone. See if you can sink lower with the hip socket as you look over the right hand, but reaching back to the wall with the left hand. Okay, and then come up, change sides. First one, just the hands onto the hips, bend the leg and compare the inside of the left leg, inside of the left thigh to the outside. Notice how the inner thigh tends to shrink. So big toe base press down and lengthen the inner knee away from the pubic bone. And then come up and again bend the knee, left outer heel press down, big toe base press down and turn the kneecap so that it faces directly over where the toes are pointing. And then come up, let's bring the arms into the pose, right hand to the wall, left arm extend, bend, sink down again, big toe base press, outer heel press, move the left buttock in and sink the thigh bone down. And then press the heel to the floor as you come back up and out of the pose. Let's turn the other way. We'll have the right toes lightly touching the wall and step the left foot back. We'll be doing a version of Virabhadrasana 1. Again, important that there's the complete full distance between the feet here. So just make sure that the feet are not too close. It will be counterproductive if the feet are close. We want to keep the knee joint over the ankle. We don't want it pushing too far forwards. The wall will be there, and that will be a good reality check. If the knee is touching the wall, then you've come too far forwards with the knee and you need to increase the distance between the feet. Before we bend the front leg, just notice initially probably the kneecap loose, but instead now press the big toe base down, the right outer heel down, and draw the kneecap up. So you've got to grip with the Vastus Medialis and the quadriceps muscle generally, lift the skin and the muscle there and the kneecap up towards the hip, and then maintain that grip as you slowly start to bend the knee. Pressing the right big toe base down, pressing the outer heel down, but as the knee bends, it's as if we're drawing the skin and the muscle fiber back towards the pelvis. Let the pelvis sink down, but keep the right kneecap facing straight ahead. Okay, and then slowly start to come up. Notice how the coming up action really just as important as the going down action. We'll look at that in a moment, but let's do the left side. So with the knees straight, press the big toe base down, press the outer heel down, and draw the kneecap up. So this muscle, you can touch it, just make sure that it's firm there, near the kneecap. And then keeping the big toe base pressing down, keeping the outer heel pressing down, let's start to slowly bend the left leg. As we do though, the skin and the muscle there of the thigh drawing back towards the hip. We want to avoid that sense of the thigh bone being shoved forwards, jamming into the knee. Keeping the weight back in the heel, it really helps with the knee. Just make sure that the muscles there on that inner quadriceps area are firm and gripping. As they grip, let the thigh bone sink lower. And then pressing the heel down, keep the kneecap gripping as you re-straighten the leg to come out of the pose. As I mentioned briefly there, coming out of the pose for knees just as important as coming into the pose. Something that we can do to really emphasize that coming out of the pose action is to use a chair to help with balance. We'll turn the other way. We're going to be starting with the back knee bent to the floor. Depending on your floor surface, you might need some padding. You can use a blanket if need be there. There's a bit of cushioning for the back knee. Here's your start position, knee to the floor. But again, make sure that you've got the full distance here ready between the feet. So again, counterproductive if the distance is too short. We want to make sure that the knee joint stays aligned with the ankle joint. Have your chair close in and have the back of your chair facing you. And the chair needs to be a support both when the knee is bent, but also when the front leg eventually straightens. Let's tuck the left toes under. And as we just did there, we're focusing on the front leg, the right big toe base press down, the right outer heel press down, so that we're drawing the skin and the muscle there of that right thigh back and away from the knee. Now the left knee is going to move here, the back leg will straighten, but keep pressing the right heel down as you straighten the left leg. Big toe base down, outer heel down, and draw that right outer thigh back towards the pelvis. And then keep pressing the big toe base down, the outer heel down, as you come all the way up, slowly straightening the right leg. And then let's reverse what we just did. Bend the right leg. Pressing the right heel down, just slowly, lightly bring the left knee back to the floor. And then we'll come back up again. Right big toe base press down, right outer heel press down, and straighten the left leg and pause. Right big toe base press, right outer heel press, and completely straighten the right leg. And then we'll switch sides, left foot forwards, the right knee back, left big toe base press down, left outer heel press down as you straighten the right leg. Left big toe base press down, left outer heel press down as you straighten the left leg. And then we'll repeat. Bend the left knee and pause and hold, keeping the weight in the heel. Keep pressing the left heel down as the right knee lightly comes back to the floor. And then left big toe base press, left outer heel press as we straighten the right leg, left big toe base press, left outer heel press as we push the leg straight to come out of the pose. Step forwards, we'll remove the chair for the moment. We'll go to Dundas. Now let's first of all just work with the pose without any supports. Just briefly, I'm aware that for some people you might need some height for the hips. We'll look at that shortly. But just the key action here of pressing the backs of the knees down, and it comes better when we're not initially sitting on height. So I'm aware that for some people that's going to be hard work on the back. We won't be here for too long. The backs of the knees press down, and the big toe bases extend forwards. The backs of the knees press down. The inner heels extend forwards, bring the ankles together. Backs of the knees press down, the thigh bones press, and then the spine and the chest can lift up. If you feel it, the muscles there on the inside of the knee, nice and firm and helping to support the knee, a nice strengthening movement for the knee. Okay, release. So we've got that basic action. Let's develop it towards an action that will be strengthening for the knees. We'll place our bolster up against the wall. We're going to use our blocks. If you've got wooden blocks with a sharp edge, you might need to put your blanket over them for padding. They'll be on their side like this. They're going to be placed directly under our knees. I've got foam blocks, so it's quite comfortable on the backs of my knees. We then sit up onto the bolster right back so that the back of the pelvis comes to the wall. The shoulders as well to the wall. You've got your hands onto the bolster beside you. You then maneuver your blocks so that they position directly under the backs of the knees. Now they're going to be something that we press down onto as we work to straighten our legs. Before we get there, let's just make sure that we're supporting the spine. So hands press down, shoulders back, and press the knees into the blocks as you then straighten the legs, and you can feel how that's a really helpful movement for the quadriceps there. Lower the heels back down. So again, pressing down onto the blocks, lift the feet, pressing the knees to the blocks, the big toe bases extend, and then lower back down and raise back up, press into the blocks, the inner heels extend, and lower back down, and pressing into the blocks, the root of the thighs, press down as if squashing the bolster to the floor, lifting your spine up. Okay, and then release down. We'll just do one more check each of those areas. Exhale, lift the legs. So big toe bases, inner heels, you're pressing onto the blocks, pressing your thighs down, pressing your hands down, lifting your spine and your chest up. Okay, and then release down. And we can develop that further if we use our chair. We'll be sitting deep in the chair, quite far back in the chair. Ideally your hips can a little bit fit through the frame of the chair there. And then the hands can come back into this position and they're gripping underneath the seat of the chair. We can roll the shoulders back, move the back ribs in and lift the chest up. And then we'll be, from this position, straightening the legs. We'll do it one leg at a time. First the right leg, straighten the knee, and then lower it back down. So we're working now into the quadriceps, strengthening the quadriceps. So we straighten the left leg now, grip the kneecap, and then lower it back down, back to the right leg. So we grip the kneecap. It's as if we're using the calf to lift the shin as the back of the knee opens. And then down, try it on the left leg, open the knee, as if we're lifting the shin bone with the calf. And then lower back down to the right leg. The inner heel extend, tighten the kneecap, big toe base extend, and then lower down. And then back to the left leg, straighten the left leg, inner heel extend, big toe base extend, and then lower down. So if we pull firmly with the hands against the seat of the chair, it'll give us a little more leverage now to be able to, let's try it, straighten both of the legs simultaneously. Firm the kneecaps, extend the big toe bases, the inner heels, use the calf muscles to lift the shin bones up. And then lower back down. We'll do one more this way. We're just getting a taste of the different movements, and then you can always come back to these poses and repeat as necessary. Exhale and lift the legs up, Dandasana. Open the backs of the knees, use the calves to lift the shins, the heels extend, the big toe bases extend, and then lower the feet back down. Let's take back the block. We'll go to a version of the pose Chatushpadasana. Just the one block we'll need. Be lying on our back. We'll place the block between the knees. We'll go flat block there between the knees, the thinner positioning of the block. Squeeze the block, press the big toe bases down and lift your hips up. So squeeze the block whilst the hips are lifting, press the big toe bases down and then lower back to the floor. So a repetitive movement, and again come back to it another time and do further repetitions of this, and it's a nice strengthening movement for the quadriceps. Exhale, lift up, squeeze the block, press the big toe bases down, press the heels down, lift your hips higher up, and then release back down. And again, raise back up. So we're pressing the feet to the floor, we're squeezing the block, the front thighs, they turn towards one another, and release down. And go again, press the feet down, raise the hips up, the front thighs towards one another as we squeeze the block from inner knee to inner groin, draws back towards the pelvis, and release down. And last one, exhale, raise up, squeeze the block. The backs of the thighs, they draw towards the buttocks. As we press the feet into the floor, we're squeezing the buttocks upwards and towards the backs of the thighs. Okay, and then release down, remove the block. Keep your hands in beside your hips, straighten your legs. Have your feet together. The action that we just looked at in Dandasana. So we press the backs of the knees down. Feel that you can press the back of the knee to the floor, but in combination with that, the kneecaps are gripping. Both of those actions help the soles of the feet to open. And then raise the right knee up, say 30 degrees. The left leg first, press the back of the knee down, extend to the big toe base in the inner heel. And then lower back down, raise the left leg up. Focus on the right leg, back of the knee to the floor. right big toe base extend, right inner heel extend, and then lower back down, back to the first side, right leg raise. Back of the left knee press to the floor, but focus now on the right leg, grip the kneecap, inner heel extend, and the big toe base extend. And then lower back down again, just 30 degrees the angle of lifting the leg. Raise the leg up, left leg, grip the kneecap, inner heel extend, big toe base extend, right inner heel extend, right big toe base extend, back of the right knee press to the floor, release down. We'll do one more either side to finish. Raise the right leg up, open the backs of both knees, open the soles of both feet, and change. Last one, left leg raise, open the backs of both knees, open the soles of both feet, and then lower down, bend your knees, and roll to the side. So some good strengthening yoga movements there for the knees. Thank you for practicing with Yoga Selection.